Hello, beautiful people within the Be the Change to See the Change for Change Makers group. I'm Aleckson. As promised, I am coming to you live today to share with you some information and a bit of training around how you can receive the vision of your future from the imaginal realms. Now, what does that even mean? Well, I'll get into that a little bit later. I just want to start the conversation. Obviously, we're going to have a conversation about the imaginal realms, about what they are. Hello, Ellen. Thank you for joining me. Lovely to see you. And we are going to talk a bit more about how you can tap into those imaginal realms. Why I call it the imaginal realms is because it's the multi-dimensional level beyond the 3D level of your imagination. Now, there's a very subtle difference between much of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today. It's almost as if you can't quite feel it, but it is there, and it's so subtle. But the minute that you transcend the 3D and step into that multi-dimensional arena, so to speak, you will notice the subtle shift in how you are creating, in how you are doing everything. So I want to start the conversation today with a little story about something that happened to me this morning. So I'm someone who just loves numbers. I see numbers everywhere all the time. I notice things about numbers. Having said all of that, I'm not very good at math, and I'm certainly not good at doing financial math in my own world. But there's just, hello Barry, lovely to see you. Thanks for joining us. There's just something about numbers. They speak to me quite often. I mean, like a number of times every day for the past 10 years or so. And it was really interesting this morning as I am stepping into really speaking my truth in the world. Some of you might have noticed that I'm doing a 30-day, well, I haven't told anyone it's a 30-day thing, I don't think. Anyway, that I've started doing a 30-day challenge, and it's called #exposed. And it's really about being willing every single day to share something that perhaps goes against the grain in the spiritual world, to share something that is a teaching of mine that I don't share publicly because it's a little bit beyond what most people are talking about and what most people are kind of understanding at this point in time, to really expose myself. And even though, you might actually think that I'm quite exposed. You might actually think that I'm right out of the spiritual closet. You might actually think that that I'm the woo-wooest of the woo-woo people and all of these sorts of things, and that I'm authentic and that I'm out there and all of those things. And I'm not saying I'm not, but I'm taking it to the next level. Okay, I'm taking it to the next level, and I'm doing that because, and this seems to have been part of my purpose throughout the last 10 to 12 years, to speak openly about the woo-woo stuff, giving other people the ability or the trust that they can do the same. It seems to be something that's just, followed me around for the last 10 to 12 years, not as a purposeful thing. I haven't done it on purpose, but yet it feels like it has been part of my purpose to do that, to speak very openly about the channeling and the guides coming through and, all of that sort of stuff very, very openly, and the human experience of it, so that others can feel more comfortable. Now, having said that, let me go back to my story, which is about numbers. So, as I said, I see numbers a lot, and they really speak to me. And one thing that I know about numbers for me only is that every time I see a number plate that's got a specific numbers on it, a series of the same number, like 777 or something like that, I know that the very next number that I see is going to be a message that is for me, specifically for me. It was really interesting this morning because I was driving my son to school late as usual. They call us the late Alecksons. But he was late for school. We jumped in the car. I'm going as fast as I can. And there was this car that was annoying me. It was on the side of me, and I could tell it wanted to merge. I can often tell when a car wants to come in front of me. So I slowed down a little bit and let it in. And the number plate was 777, yes. 777, yes. So that's an even more beautiful message, isn't it? So I did what I do. I should know what they all mean by now, but 777 I don't. It's not, it's one that I see sometimes, but I always have to look it up because I don't really know what it's about. Thank you, Barry. I appreciate that. And I acknowledge yours as well. And everybody here who is also sharing their growth, because I think it's super important that we all do that. Now, 777. So I got my little angel numbers book, as you do when you're someone like me. 777, it says, congratulations, you've listened. So the first, so 777, yes, it said. So that then said to me that there would be a number that would show up for me very shortly within that same drive. That would be the true message that I was needing to read. But I always like to have a look what 777 means. So it's congratulations, you've listened well to your divine guidance and have put that wisdom into fruitful action. My goodness, I have. You're now reaping the rewards. Your success is inspiring and helping others, so please keep up the good work. Now, what's important about that is that the very next minute, well, not the very next minute, but within 4 kilometers of seeing 777, yes, I saw the real number, and it was an indication that it's time for me to get a new car. But that's beside the point. My speedometer hit 999,999. So of course for me, 999 is always, when it shows up for me, it's just simply you're where you need to be, you're doing your work in the world, it's serving people, just like that acknowledgement of that. And so I really took it as a message to say, yes, keep doing the authentic thing, keep exposing yourself at these new levels, at these next levels, because I thought I was exposed when I was talking about channeling, but talking about multi-dimensional stuff, like I'm going to share with you today, that exposes me at a whole different level. So that's my little story about the numbers. And I'm telling you that because I know that so many of us receive these sorts of number messages. And I just love them. I love numbers. But let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. For anyone who is watching, either now or in the future, or in the past, so to speak, who doesn't know me, my name is Aleckson, and I help people who want to make a difference in the world to unlock their superconscious mind and overcome their mental, emotional, spiritual, and energetic limitations so that they can be, do, and have more. And I do that through my Super Self Academy monthly membership, my one-on-one private channeling sessions, and also through the didn't know I was even going to go here, but I'm going to. The multidimensional healing, upgrade your operating system, where we work through all of the dimensions from 3D, 4D, 5D, 6, 7, 8, 9, and sometimes beyond that. And this is just the most amazing work, and getting incredible results for people, really stepping them into that next level of being, becoming the new human, actually becoming the new human that is here for the future. And I'm just absolutely loving it. It comes with a month of support as well, because when you have that sort of session at that level, it's nice to have someone to check in with and ask any questions that you have. So, so that's me, for those of you who don't know. Hello, Summer, lovely to see you. Okay, now let's get into our training. What are we talking about here? Now, here's the thing about this, and I'm going to be totally authentic and honest with you. On the day that I gave you the options of what trainings that you would want to receive from me, what we were going to do the live training on, when I typed in the subject of receiving the vision of your future from the imaginal realms, honestly, it was just something that was starting to come through me and come to me. And I still feel as though I'm holding it very, very loosely. So it's not 100% clear at this point. Or maybe it is, and I'm just a little nervous to talk about. I'm not sure. But I just want to be really upfront with you. So right in this moment, I'm sitting here with a little level of fear that I'm going to ramble a little bit of fear that I'm not going to make sense, all of these sorts of things. Now, I'm not saying that to you in order to ask for your, to tell me that, yeah, it's fine, it's good, and all of those sorts of things. I'm just simply telling you how I'm feeling, because that's what I do. But now let's put our attention on what we need to have our attention on, and let me start sharing with you. So right now I'm working a lot in the multidimensional fields. Not so much, obviously there is so much to be done in the 3D. Now, for me, what 3D is about your brain, about your mind, about your thinking, about your habitual way of being, about your habits, and about what goes on in your body and what your body is trained to do. And then anything beyond that is in those other dimensions, your Akashic records and all of that sort of thing. So I just want to let you know that, so you know where I'm speaking from. Now, when you do the multidimensional work, when you transcend your human conditioning, so I'm just going to say that again. When you transcend your human conditioning, and by that I mean when you start to transcend your 3D reality and step into multidimensional creator reality, then you move into a space where you know 100% with no doubt, with no uncertainty, that life is happening for you. And that there is no efforting needed on your part. Efforting and trying and doing all of those 3D practices of vision boards and setting intentions and trying to figure out what the future is going to look like through creating it from where you are right now. And you can never create the future from where you are right now at a 3D level. So all of those sort of 3D processes come from 3D thinking, 3D imagination, because there's a next level of imagination in the multidimensional fields. That's why I call it the imaginal realms, just to differentiate it. So when you're creating your future from vision boards, setting intentions, imagining, which, as I said, is a limited 3D concept, then you are not, what you're doing is you're trying to create. You're not actually creating. And this is why I talk about the subtlety of it as well, because, I mean, how subtle is the difference between trying to create and creating? There's a very subtle difference between the two, but it's a quantum leap between them at the same time. It's a subtle difference energetically and thought process wise, but it's actually a quantum leap from one to the other. So as I said, here I am again in my mind thinking, I hope I'm not rambling, I hope I'm making sense. Give me some feedback at this point that I'm making sense to you, or ask a question about something that I've said so that I can clarify it for you. That would really help me in order to give you something clear that you can use, because this is a training. It's not just me waffling. Or is it? Who knows? So now here's the thing. When you step into your multidimensional self, when you start to be the new human, or to be the change that you came to see in the world, you know without a doubt 100% that everything that happens to you in life is happening for you. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. You know that. And I don't mean you know it as in it's a concept that you've worked out in your brain, knowledge, no, but rather it's a visceral feeling of knowing within your whole body, within every cell in your body. There is no doubt. You just know it. You know it. You live it. The next thing that you know without a doubt as the new human, and as you evolve past your human conditioning and 3D reality, is that you can't get it wrong, right? I love it when I say, you can't get it wrong, right? But you cannot get it wrong. In other words, if you're in this moment, like myself right now, I've got a part of my brain is saying to me, I hope this is making sense, and I hope you're not making a fool of yourself, and I hope people are understanding what you're saying, and I hope you're not waffling. There's that part of me saying that, right? That's my 3D part. But what's coming out my mouth is the other levels. You cannot get it wrong. And this is super duper important, because you cannot evolve past your 3D conditioning unless you are 100% unconditionally loving yourself. Self-love, 100% unconditional. And so if you believe at any point in time, like I do right now, there's that 3D part of me questioning what I'm saying, that 3D part of me believes that I could get it wrong. And yet there's this next level part of me that's speaking to you right now that knows that I can't get it wrong. I just know it. That's why I let whatever words want to come out, come out. That's why I move my conscious mind out of the way when I'm doing my healing work and my up-level work, my upgrade your operating system work. That's why I know whatever comes out of my mouth is exactly what needs to be said, even though sometimes I'm questioning it. So you cannot get it wrong. That is utter, complete, unconditional self-love. To know that. And you have to be in unconditional self-love in order to transcend your 3D conditioning and your 3D limitations, your human limitations, and be in that next level multi-dimensional arena. Exactly, Barry, that's exactly right. Just go for it, man. That's so cool. I'd love to hear more. Thank you, Summer. Yes, I love that grimace face. Okay, now when you are in that place of knowing with a capital K-N-O-W, and you know that life is happening for you, that you cannot get it wrong, you step into a place where you can start to receive from the imaginal realms your future vision, or the vision of your future. And it will be a future that you've never been able to quite tap into when you're doing the vision boards and when you're doing the meditations to try and see your future or to see your purpose. Because in the act of trying, you are limiting yourself. Trying, in the act of trying to create. So vision boards, setting intentions, all of that stuff. The act of trying to create your future actually limits your future. Because your future, and I'm sure you've all experienced this at some point. You know, if you think back to when you were perhaps in school and you were thinking about this amazing future that you'd have, where you'd have this career and this and this and this, and yet you look at your life now and you're kind of like, oh, it's so much better than I thought it would be. We all have those moments, right? But we have those moments that show us that when we try to imagine it and try to create it from that imagining, we're not truly being unlimited. And so when you step into your multidimensional aspects, when you allow that part of you to lead you rather than your 3D aspects, then you what you do is you open up your superconscious mind and you open to this next level of receiving information, receiving the vision of your future. Just having these ideas just kind of pop into your head at various times where you just, again, there's no question about it. There's no receiving that vision and saying, oh my gosh, how am I going to get there? Or how is that going to be possible? Or any of those sorts of things. But rather what you do is you receive it as a knowing. And you just kind of accept it. And you just go, wow, that'll be cool. But you don't feel that you need to make it happen right now. You just know that it's going to be part of your future, right? Now, I recently received one of these, and it was about income. Now, I found it very odd because I don't focus on income too much. But I received this vision where I saw exactly the amount of monthly income that I'd be receiving every month very shortly. And it's super exciting. But at the same time, I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool and that'll be wonderful, but I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, right? Because I know that by keeping doing what I'm doing, because I never get it wrong, that I will reach that level at some point. And then that vision, which was given to me, I wasn't trying at that time to create a vision of the income that I'd be receiving every month. It wasn't even something that was in my thought process. It just dropped into my head one day. And again, it had that level of knowing about it. And it had that level of trust about it. And it had that level of, there's nothing I need to do. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. And so my job is to just keep doing what I'm doing, because I wouldn't have received that vision if I weren't already on the path. Even though I can't see where that path is going, the reason that I received that vision is because I'm already on the path. I've stepped onto some new level path or some new path, and the universe is saying, yes, this is the right path and here's what you'll get from it, right? Beautiful, thank you. Yes, Michelle, trusting, no room for doubt. Thanks, Barry. Talk to you soon. Your future is now, exactly. Yeah, Etta, that's exactly right. It's really important that we, you know, I was having a session with a client the other day, and I did this because I'm sitting exactly as I was sitting with her, so I can feel myself about to do it again. I actually went like this and said, this is your future, this is where you are now, and that's your past, and you are not allowed to turn around and look at your past anymore. You're not allowed to turn around and look at your past. You see, our imagination, our 3D imagination, is actually being fed or being led by our past. We can't out-imagine our past unless we do the healing and all of those things. So they're all things that you need to do in order to be someone who starts to receive the true vision of your future from the imaginal realms. Now, I have this quote from Einstein, I believe it is, and I use it quite often when I'm talking to people, and I will say something like, as Einstein said, because I like to sound smart, and I'm not, as Einstein said, your imagination is the preview of life's coming attractions. And it absolutely is, but I understand that quote now at a whole different level. Every time I've said it in the past, until the recent couple of weeks, every time I've said it in the past, I've actually thought about, he's talking about the 3D imagination. So your ability to sit down and imagine from your past what the future might be. But now I understand what he was actually talking about, and where he received his visions from was this multidimensional imaginal realm where you get given the vision because you've stepped onto the path. I'm going to say that again because I feel like that's super duper important. The imaginal realms give you the vision because you've stepped on the path. You receive the vision from the imaginal realms because you've stepped onto the path that is going to lead to that. And you're doing it in total trust and total faith. And you've moved into greater levels of self-love. You might not be in that beautiful unconditional place yet. I don't think, honestly, that we can be in that unconditional place all the time. As I said, we're multidimensional. And this is why I tell you what's going on in my head while I'm talking to you. Because even though I'm speaking from those multidimensional aspects of me, there's a 3D aspect of me that's still sitting in the back of my brain, not right now, because I'm talking about myself. It's not there, and because we've moved beyond that part of the conversation. But there is that part of me that's always saying, why are you saying that? Should you say that? Are you making sense? Are you rambling? All of those sorts of questions. So that's just a part of who we are as a 3D human being. And it's not about getting rid of that totally. It's about knowing that there are other aspects of you, and you can lead with the other aspects, or you can lead with your past and your human 3D aspects as they stand at this point in time. So it's all about cleaning up your vibration, healing your wounding, doing the inner work, facing your shadows, all of this stuff that's so prevalent in the world today. There's lots of people talking about it, lots of people doing this sort of work. But again, the next thing is to be in that total unconditional self-love place. And what comes from that is a total trust in self and spirit. Total trust in your 3D self, and then total trust in your multidimensional self, or what some people might call your spiritual guides, God even, your Akashic records, all of those things. They are just the multidimensional aspects of the physical manifestation, which is your human self. So hit me with any questions that you've got, because I just want to wrap this up in the next couple of minutes by answering any questions. I do hope, and I love, Anik, thank you so much for saying high value content as always. And yes, it is my joy, of course, to remind you of who you are. But hit me up with any questions about anything I've said so we can wrap this up nicely, and then we'll finish up. Summer Marie, I'm not quite sure which is your favourite quote. Oh, the Einstein quote. Is that one of yours as well? Fantastic. Very smart man. Life unfolding before us. Absolutely, Michelle. Eileen, hello. I just saw a snapshot of me doing markets, followed by a snapshot of me speaking on stage in a sold-out auditorium. I'm headed to market this afternoon. Fantastic. Fantastic. Beautiful. I love that you saw the snapshot of that as well. Do you know, I remember, and these are only recent memories, I've forgotten a lot of my childhood. So when I started doing my spiritual work, my guides would share things with me from my childhood that I'd forgotten about, or a couple of, one particular incident I'd actually shut down from, but once that came back, I did the work around it. But at one point, about 6 years ago, when I was saying to my guides, you know, why am I someone who at 40 plus remembered who I was and started to do this work? You know, there's a lot of people who know who they are and know psychic stuff when they're like tiny little children. And so they showed me an image of when I was 4, and I was playing cowboys and Indians in the backyard with my brothers and sisters in Sydney, just before the family moved to Papua New Guinea when I was 5. But I was 4 and I was in the backyard, and I have no memories of my childhood in Sydney when I was 4, except going to, I do remember when I went to the first day of school, and you used to have to, I'm showing my age now, you used to stand in line at assembly at the beginning of every day, and you'd get given a little glass bottle of milk. I don't know what that was about, but obviously it was a health thing. Also, they thought dairy. And you had to drink your bottle of milk before you went into the class. I remember that, but I don't remember much else. But I was shown the vision of me playing cowboys and Indians with my brothers and sisters, and I've got 5 of them, so it's quite a lot of people shooting each other and things like that. And I remember getting shot by a pretend gun, bang, you know what I mean? And I remember falling back, and I kind of went like that and fell back on the grass, and I was looking up at the sky, and it was like the sky opened up, and I saw myself. I know it was myself now. I didn't then. I saw myself on a stage speaking to hundreds of people, maybe even thousands of people, and so that's what they brought back to me, the memory of that moment, because I'd completely forgotten about it. So that's exactly what I'm saying. These are flashes that come to you, and if you hold on to them, or if you kind of go, oh, that's so exciting, I can't wait, and and take it as evidence that you're on the path, you will inevitably get there. So yeah. Ellen, an instant way to switch to the multidimensional arena. If you wanted an instant way, for most human beings, it's not instant, because here's what you'd need to do. You'd need to step into unconditional 100% self-love, which carries with it self-responsibility and self-trust, right? Even just saying these things, I'm like, yeah, most people, because we go back and forth between them, don't we? But most people are so far in the past of lower levels of those sorts of things. So it's not easy to become an instant thing, but it's not impossible. If you just simply decide right here, right now, life is happening for me, I can't get it wrong, and just start 100% unconditional, loving yourself, trusting yourself, being self-responsible, being self-integrous. In other words, having self-integrity, doing what you say when you're going to do it, doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. I'm reading this, it's sitting over here, because this is something that I'm working with at the moment in my own journey. So Ellen, that's the answer to that. Fall in love with yourself 100% unconditional. Michelle, what do you do when you've accidentally stepped into just 3D to get back to the other realms? Well, it's really quite easy, right? But at the same time, it's not. You just remember. You just remind yourself, hang on a minute, I know better than that now. I'm going to take that step forward into the next dimension. So what do I need to do in order to do that? Whatever I'm thinking about, whatever I've stepped into in the 3D, a memory of the past, or a creating from the past, or a habit, or a wounding, or any of those sorts of things, you just do the work to clean it up and remind yourself that there's what's the thing I'd rather be doing. So you do your work, you clean it up, and then you go, okay, so now that that's cleaned up, where would I like to be? And you take yourself to that, right? Yes, Gay, it is absolutely. See, the difference between imagining in the multidimensional world and imagining in the 3D is that when you're in the 3D, you're trying to create, you're trying to imagine. When you're in the multidimensions, it's just something that you receive from the universe. See, from a 3D perspective, and this is the law of attraction stuff, right? You are telling the universe what you want. You're asking for what it is that you want. You are you're really limiting yourself, because you can't see what the universe could give you if you would simply allow the universe to give it to you when you're ready for it, give you visions of it when you're ready to take that next step. Your job is to just step on the path of whatever's showing up in front of you, because life is happening for you, and then allow yourself to receive that vision. So the difference is, and again, someone said it up here about Yoda. Who was that? I saw that comment. Yes, Ellen, Yoda, there is no try, there is only do or do not. And that's really the difference, is that you're trying to create your reality as a 3D being, but when you create from your multidimensional being, what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to be the creation and the creator, and it becomes unlimited. All right. So that's that. Thank you, Gay, for that. Hi, Wendy. Lovely to see you. And we are done at this point in time. If anybody is interested in finding out more about ways to work with me with regards to multidimensional, upgrade your operating system, just connect with me and let me know, and I'll give you all the details. Otherwise, I want to invite you also to consider joining the Super Self Academy. In the Super Self Academy, what we do is we drop you a monthly activation, which will help you to start to move into the multidimensional. We do a monthly Q&A where we do any healing work or any, questions and things like that. Anyway, I'm not going to go into it because that's not what this is about. I wanted to talk to you about this imaginal realm so that you can open your imagination, right? To step beyond the 3D imagination and into the multidimensional imaginal realms. So I hope I've been able to do that for you today, and I love you and I love life. And you know what, honestly, things are just getting better and better and better. I'm not saying that from my 3D perspective. I'm saying things are getting better and better and better for all of us, for the earth, for everything. So don't allow yourself to be dragged back into those fear realms that truly belong in the 3D and that we're transcending now, okay? Thank you so much for joining me. This has been fun. We're going to do lots of more live trainings like this within the group over the, certainly 2020. Exciting year, and I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for joining me.